this can be cut out anyways. So on the jaw of the coyote, you want to trim it off. You want the lips trimmed off so they dry properly. And you want a nice oval shaped hole in here, because they're going to, at the auction house, this is where they're going to punch the ticket onto your coyote so you know that it's your coyote and it's being sold. So pretty straightforward. Take a little pinch of pelt, make an incision into it, very little, you don't have to waste a whole bunch. And then just come up and run your knife along the edge, removing all that lip cartilage. Trim it off. You want the lips trimmed off so they dry properly. And you want a nice oval shaped hole in here, because they're going to, at the auction house, this is where they're going to punch the ticket onto your coyote so you know that it's your coyote and it's being sold. So pretty straightforward. Take a little pinch of pelt, make an incision into it, very little, you don't have to waste a whole bunch. And then just come up and run your knife along the edge, removing all that lip cartilage, anything that's left over, you take it off. Same thing, just hold your knife flat and run it up, removing the cartilage. That is a properly fleshed coyote, boarded coyote. Key is we're going to open the ear cartilage up. So piece of cardboard, take a tap, push it in, like so. Other one, like so. Just to get some airflow into the ear cartilage, to the back of the ears. So the next step to boarding is we're going to actually physically pull the coyote off, turn it so the hide is on the outside now. So as you can see, properly dried, it's still flexible, but it's not sticky. It has no tacky spot to it at all. Everything has been dried properly. So you can see, you can hear the leather to it. If it is over dried, now all you want to do is take a squirt bottle, squirt it down with some water, very gently. You don't need a whole bunch of water. Let it sit for 2 minutes, 5 minutes out, and you'll see the wrinkle of the leather. It'll actually start absorb a little bit of that water. Becomes pliable again, very easy to remove it. So next step, we're just going to set it up. We're going to start pulling pins out so we can release the pressure off the board, take all the tacks out of it. Up. Tacks out. So tacks free, so now we can remove our cardboard off our ears. All the tacks are released. So these are dry, and these feel dry. So I'm going to lift it up off the board. So you can hear how it's got some sound to it. It's a little bit crunchy, but it is still pliable. So next step is we're going to take it so the fur is out. So take the nose and start pushing it down in through the jaw. And just take it's your thumb and your fingers, and you're just rolling it inside out like a saw. So push it down, just keep feeding it down in through it. Front feet need to just stay like this, leave them like that. You don't want to push them through. Push it down in. Just like that. Be careful on the belly. This is fairly light skin, so if it's over dried, you could have a chance of ripping it. So just take your time with that. Hold it, so flip it, so like that. So now I can take that. So we got a coyote that has a fur out. So we're going to put it on the forming board. Same thing, slide it up over onto it, make sure everything's nice and square. I like to take my fingers and stick them up into the front legs so I know they're on the front side of the board, and just prop them up in there so they're upright. Pull it down, get it on spot, give it a nice little adjustment, make sure it's square to the board. So we're going to re-pin the coyote onto the board for the final dry. So like that. Remove come down. We ain't pulling tight onto it, we're just forming this kite. So, this probably don't need as many pins because it should be properly dried by now. So, just a couple just so it stays in formation. So with that, it'll come up higher. So with that, so you can see where that's going to be. Back side of this thing, we want a nice square, make sure it's nice and straight up the board. So pull down tight. That. Roll the kite. So skin, I just run my finger down the skin of the tail. Tack. Find that piece of skin and tack it straight. Down. So now we can drop it down. So the ears, they're dry. Take that. What we need is one little tack. Tack it up straight, nice and flat. We want a nice flat looking. So nothing sticking out. So in the drumming process, we don't have legs sticking out. We don't have ears sticking out. Everything is a nice flat formed board on a kite. So one of the things you're going to probably deal with eventually is sewing up a hole, either a torn hole or a bullet shot. So we want to definitely figure out our loop so you can see how there's a lot of excess skin that's been blown from a bullet. So I'm just going to take a nice sharp knife. I'm going to start high up above. I'm going to come around and I'm actually going to just trim off all that excess skin that's been shattered out. So you can see I'm just trimming it up. So, and then you take that out, discard it. So anywhere where it's been shattered out, you want to trim that out. So the object of this is you're actually going to try and make an oval shaped hole, because if you make a perfectly round hole, when you cinch your thread up, you're actually going to create a ball in your fur. So you want to actually make a pretty oval tapered cut. So you want to pack all your fur back in place. So everything's going to lay nice. Tuck it in, get it out of the way so when you're using your thread, you're not twisting hair into it. So you can see how it's a nice oval shape to it. So with a needle, thread, so you're just going to start on the one end, pierce through, come up, and tie off. So make a knot into it, cinch it up good. You can go ahead, cut your tag end off, get it out of the way. So I run a baseball stitch, so just up underneath the fur, oops, and pull tight. Giving yourself about a 1/16 of an inch onto the skin, up and under, and come through. And you want to stagger them out roughly 1/4 of an inch to a half. You don't want them too far apart. The further apart you are, the less it's going to cinch the hide together. So coming to the end stitch, you're going to cinch it up nice and tight. So let's see, we got a nice sealed hole, and so we want to make sure we have our thread secured. So poke through, give yourself some slack, And then I like to 3 loops around my needle, cinch it up, pull it down. And I like to do just a second one just for backup. So 3 loops around my needle, pull through, cinch up, tight. So now we can go ahead, cut our thread off. Work it down. Now we got a nice sealed hole. Everything's in place, everything's formed. We don't have any balled up skin, tight. So everything will dry properly. And we've patched a hole.